Well, to discuss these developments, let's bring in Jeffrey Stacey, a former State Department official who joins us live now from Ann Arbor in Michigan. A warm welcome to the programme. So what do you make of this? Is it a dangerous development or is it simply Putin's right?
Well, I would classify it instead as an attempt to intimidate, an attempt to essentially scare not only Ukraine, but in particular the West. And unfortunately, it is partially succeeding, but largely not succeeding. And what we have here is effectively a neutered intercontinental ballistic missile. It's got a symbolic nature. It was conventionally armed, not nuclear armed, but it's an attempt to scare everyone. And so is the report that you just had, which was Putin's decision to supposedly change Russia's nuclear doctrine. It had been talking about this for months, so that's nothing new either. And really, this isn't anything surprising as well. So what we need to do as an alliance is to stand fast, a NATO and European Union alliance, and not be intimidated. In fact, what we ought to do is give Ukraine some additional missiles. It needs not only more ATACMS, these long-range missiles that it just fired in the last few days, but it needs some JASSM missiles, which have even a longer range. But it's good to see that the restrictions were lifted on the UK and France as well. And now what we need from Germany is the Taurus missile and support from countries like Turkey, India, etc., across the alliance. Ukraine needs to be in a position before President Trump arrives back in office to shift this war on the battlefield, and that's what it's doing.
Okay, but there's not long to do that, is there? Because there's only 2 months left of Biden's administration. So clearly, from what you're telling me, you believe there's a bit of a rush on.
That's right. In fact, there is a major rush across the Western Alliance to get out the door as much aid as possible, as soon as possible, primarily in the U.S., because there is this fear, the worst case scenario is that Trump will zero out aid. But in fact, we've gotten some signals from him. There was a call that he and Putin had that surprised the Russians. Trump surprised us all. He actually swaggered a bit. He actually said to Putin, reminded him that the U.S. has, to quote, the strongest military in Europe. This was such a surprise to Moscow that Dmitry Peskov, Putin's spokesperson, denied that call and conversation had even taken place. So now with the North Korean troops arriving in theater, we've got reports that they're taking losses already. One of their generals has been lost. And so what we see now is basically a jockeying, because what Trump is most likely to do is to push, and he did say this to Putin, for a peace deal. And that's why there's this rush to secure as much land as possible before possible negotiation.
Yeah, Jeffrey, thank you so very much indeed. It's going to be a really interesting 2 months, and of course, seeing what Trump does in January as well. Thank you.